Hello folks, this is Yamil for Gunstock Reviews. We're here at Gunsight Academy in Paulding, Arizona, and today we have a legend of the shooting world, Ken Hackathorn. How you doing, Ken?
Good to see you, bro.
Well, Ken is not only a legend in the training world, he is also one of the guys who was the founders of IPSC and IDPA, and also part of founding members of 3Gun. Okay, and he sort of kind of likes guns. I don't know. Do you like guns?
Kind of.
Kind of? Okay. Well, we're going to talk about the new Colt Python that just came out. And the cool thing about it, we're going to talk about the past and the present. Because you've had experience. You shot a Python once?
I probably had 3 of them back in the day.
So you shot them and you had experiences with them. I've had one that I picked up in a pawn shop in Mesa, Arizona for $375.
Oh, that was the right price.
And when I took the grips off, it had the name and batch number of Maricopa County Sheriff's deputy inside of the grips.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a really cool story. But now, Ken, compared, we haven't shot this one yet, but the old ones, tell me about them.
Well, first off, they were beautiful guns. Cosmetically, probably one of the most attractive guns. Colt basically made the Python when they introduced it like in 1956 as the top of the line. Beautifully polished, beautifully finished. Remember, guns of that era were hand-fitted.
Okay.
Of that era. So literally you had one craftsman, one guy putting that gun together, everything, and there were things that had to be stoned and fitted, so everything was perfection. They were very expensive. When that gun first came on the market, it was $120.
Oh my God.
That was a lot of money. That was the most expensive gun on the product line. When they reintroduced the Colt Single Action Army, it was $125. It was actually $5 more expensive. But over the years, the prices went up. They had a lot of attributes, one of which, besides being beautifully made and attractive, they were very accurate guns. And remember, back in that era, everybody shot Revolver single action. Bullseye, the reason I like the Colt, it uses the V mainspring. And to shoot like this and thumb cock the hammer, it's easier than a Smith & Wesson. The Smith & Wesson is stiffer to thumb cock. So the Colt was favored. You look at the wide spur hammer, and just stick the gun out like you're going to shoot it, and then just reach up and thumb cock and see how easy it is to cock. Yep. That's why the Colts ruled the bullseye market, because that's how you shot them. Now remember, same thing in that era, everybody shot target with 38 wide cutters. Yeah. So you shot the gun single action with 38 wide cutters, they held up beautifully. Now remember, people back up until really probably the 1960s, people didn't shoot handguns very much. No. And I tell people, the guy that made people good at shooting handguns is right down here in Phoenix, is Mike Dillon. He created the shooting world. Because prior to that, nobody could afford to shoot handguns much. No. Bottom line is, well, the Python was a beautiful gun, very accurate. Cosmetically, one of the most pleasing guns you can look at. As a shooter, I was pretty down on them. So I'm a Smith & Wesson guy. I grew up with them. They've got a better action as far as reliability and durability. And so I've just I've got a number of Colt revolvers, don't get me wrong. I got a bunch of them. But from a shooter standpoint, they were never my favorite because of durability. Yeah, but now we're going to go ahead and shoot this one and see how it performs. Sure. Okay, Ken, here you go. I just loaded 6 rounds of 57 Magnum, 125 grain, Colt National Match ammo done by Double Tap. Cool. So here you go. Let's see how it works. You do it first. All right. All right, going hot. Well, that's pretty impressive. It is, and how's the trigger pull? Oh, compared to the old gun, it's a no-brainer. This is dramatically better. Okay. I mean, it's smooth. For the old Pythons, remember the old Pythons, everybody bragged, oh, the Python triggers were so good. They were crap. They stacked terribly. As the farther they went back, the harder they got. This gun is, I mean, there's no stack. It's just straight back bang. And it's a clean... In other words, there's no increasing wall. So from a shooter standpoint, pretty darn impressive. As a matter of fact, just from a shootability standpoint, if you put, say, a current Python this one, the new Python, and the original one on the table in front of me. And the old ones, by the way, you know, bring stupid money.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I wouldn't even blink. I'd pick up this gun.
Well, that's awesome.
Yes.
No, I'm going to be a little more sophisticated than you. I'm going to shoot 38 specials.
I think that's probably not a bad call. All right, see what you can do.
I'm going to be a wuss. I'm going to shoot a steel.
That's good. Well, that's not too bad for an old geezer.
Well, you know what? I'm old. I'm not a revolver shooter, but you know, Ken Campbell here at Gunsight has been teaching me how to properly shoot a revolver.
Yeah.
So I'm getting used to it. Yeah. I tell you what, because of the, like you said, the wall is no longer there.
Yeah. All right, let me show you something that is kind of a lost art. Running a revolver has kind of been lost. One of the problems people don't get is how do you unload it and reload it. First off, Colts, you pull the cylinder latch to rear. Smiths, you push forward. Rugers, you press in. Colt, you pull it to the rear. You use your support hand, social finger, to open the cylinder. Now, one of the drawbacks to the Colt historically is it has a short extractor stroke. It will not kick the rounds out.
Okay.
The way you fix that is you always bring the gun. When you do that, you invert the gun so the muzzle's up and gravity will get them out.
Okay.
Now, the system I use, and there's a number of different ones, is you open a cylinder, I invert the gun, I push the extractor rod and let go. Remember, don't pump it, push it down, let off so it snaps, and you saw all those last 2 rounds fell out. Now you re-invert the gun because you want gravity to work for you, putting rounds in or a speed loader. So the technique, if you keep your right-hand shooter, is you switch to your left hand, snap, and then roll the gun back over so you can do your reload. The other system is you open it up, take this hand, strike the extractor rod, and then reload with this hand.
Okay.
I prefer to use this one because my dexterity's better.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
But remember, get the muzzle up. Even if you do this, get the muzzle up, then orient the muzzle down so the rounds will drop right in. The mistake is I see people with revolvers is they lay them on their side and try to do this.
Okay.
And you always end up with a case stuck under here somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So gravity. One of the arts that's been lost is the process of reloading. Back in the day, before speed loaders, people carried their cartridges in belt loops. And one of the things you wanted to learn was the art where when you drew the cartridges out, you always tried to bring out 2 at a time. So you loaded, 2 more, loaded, 2 more, loaded. So you had 3 strokes and you had a fully loaded 6-shot revolver. And so the old pros back before speed loaders, they set up so they always pressed up the bottom of your fingers, pressed the 2 rounds up, and your thumb and the fingers picked the top out and loaded 2, rotate 2, close the gun, you're back in the fight.
Okay, what drill do you have for us next?
I've got it's a pretty simple drill. If you want to learn how to drive a wheel gun, it's a pretty decent one. You want to do it about 10 yards, about like we are, and you want to start with 6 rounds in the revolver, ready gun, and on the signal, you come up and fire 2 rounds holding the gun with both hands. Then you switch to 2 rounds strong-handedly, then you come back, switch to 2 rounds weak-handed. So your goal is to do that so that when you're finished, don't worry about the time initially, so you can cover all 6 shots with your hand at 10 yards. When you can do that, then you can be more concerned about speeding up. But remember, you never want to sacrifice accuracy for speed. One of the biggest flaws I see of the gun culture, we have become obsessed with speed. And for the most part, it's meaningless. As a matter of fact, I tell people, everybody wants to be John Wick. And that's fantasy. Remember, that's not real world. So accuracy is everything. Remember Jim Cirillo, who was kind of probably one of the world's most accomplished gunfighters, used a revolver. Mm-hmm. And I asked Jim one time about it. I said, well, you know, what was he said, I never had to shoot anybody very many times. You shoot them right, they quit doing what they're doing. So obviously, people say, well, you only had 6 rounds. You know, he did carry he had a Colt Cobra in his pocket, a Model 10 issue heavy barrel, Colt Cobra in his pocket, and PPK in his ankle holster. So he had enough bullets, but the bottom line was, Jim told me, he said, I never, ever had to worry about not having enough ammo. It was done with what was in the gun. Mm-hmm. So let me show you this drill.
Let's do it. Okay, let's go ahead and do it.
Now, one minor point we want to go over. Your normal firing grip, and everybody's got a kind of different. A lot of guys shoot revolvers what we call the X grip, and that's fine. But remember, when you start shooting auto, that's a bad place for your thumb.
Yeah.
X grip works. What you don't want is get your thumb someplace where it causes cylinder drag. You want to be very careful about that.
And I've done that before, and it hurts.
Yeah. Next thing is, this is no problem. This is no problem. Now, getting your weak hand grip is different for most people. The revolver's got a different grip profile. Best way to do it is simply open your grip up. You open it up like so. Put your hand in so you've got the grip you want in line with the arm. Simply close your fingers and thumb, go right back, and fire your weak hand shots. Now, for example, I have a habit that I've trained myself. When I switch hands, I switch eyes.
Oh, okay.
Because if you're shooting around cover, the left side of cover, if I come out and use my right eye, guess what? They got my whole head to shoot at.
Oh, that's
So
bad.
I only give them the left eye. I only give them half of my head.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, we'll run this and see how it goes.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. You ready to run them? All right, here we go.
I only have one thing to say. Show off.
Well, let's see. We're going to
This
let
guy.
you give it a try. How about that?
Okay,
And don't get in a hurry. Remember, get your hit.
slow.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and load it.
There you go.
2.
All right. Whenever you're ready. Not bad. And you did the right thing. If it wasn't perfect, you take the time to shift to get the proper grip. Because shooting a gun with a bad grip never gives you a good result.
No, you just end up wasting ammo or missing the target that you need to hit.
And this is a good drill to practice. But remember, we live in a world where sometimes you don't get to use the hand you want. And you can do it with a revolver, you can do it with anything.
And like the original concept of IPSC and IDPA, you go to practice weak hand just in case your strong hand is disabled.
Affirmative. And the other thing is, remember, our gun culture now, everybody's auto-loading pistols. Everybody shoots a semi. And the trigger action is different. But if you're just like shooting, the trigger on this gun is going to impress you. Remember, the way to shoot a double-action revolver is double action. If you're thumb cocking shooting it, you're not really getting the advantage you want. And one thing I'll tell you, that a lot of new shooters are going to pick up this gun, and when they shoot it, they're going to have trouble because they're used to shooting an auto pistol where you basically prep the trigger or try to stay on the trigger between shots. You don't want to come off. With a revolver, it's different, particularly a Colt, because since the V mainspring powers not only the hammer, but also powers the return of the trigger, it does a double job. Remember the Smith & Wesson, the mainspring powers the hammer, and you get a rebound spring that returns the trigger.
Yeah.
So this trigger return is a little softer. So in order to get the gun back, what we'll call reset, you got to come off the trigger. If you try staying on it, you can reach a point where you can tie the gun up or it'll skip. And bottom line is, so shooting a revolver like a Colt Python, bang, come off the trigger. You don't have to fly off of it. But look, see, I've got a gap there. Boom, off the trigger. And the cool thing is this trigger is so smooth and light that even though I'm starting off the trigger, it has no effect on my ability to shoot the gun.
Oh, that's
So new shooters that aren't used to revolvers and they pick up a Python, they got to remember every DA stroke, finger loses contact with the face of the trigger and comes back on fire every time. Because if they try to stay on the trigger each time, they're eventually going to run into a problem where they don't reset it. If you understand that, and like I say, I think most people, once they shoot this gun, are going to fall in love with it. Revolvers, candidly, are as accurate or typically sometimes more accurate than auto pistols. So, as you saw, I mean, it's easy to shoot one well, and with a Python, it makes that DA trigger a breeze.
much better.
Yeah.
Okay, Ken, what are the things you can tell me about the gun after shooting it?
Well, there's a number of things that I'm impressed with. One of the drawbacks to the original Python was the front sight was pinned on. It was blue ramp, which meant in a lot of lighting conditions, it was hard to see. Colt very smartly has now got an interchangeable sight system. So depending on what your tastes are, fiber optic, night sight insert, patch reach post, the end user can now adjust the front sight configuration to meet their needs. That's a big plus.
Yep. I love the brass bead.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm a gold bead or brass bead guy, preferably gold. But
yeah.
The other thing, of course, is it takes the same stocks as the original Python, so any of the aftermarket grips will adapt to this gun.
Like Hogue, Pachmeyer.
Any of them will work. The other thing, of course, is the rear sight is different than the old one. And in many ways, the interesting thing about it is it's in a dovetail, so you back out the lock screw, adjust your windage, and then tighten the lock screw down so you get no movement, no flopping around of the blade. And the only minor change, it's going to be off in a 6-inch, and the original guns were 4. This is 4 1/4.
Okay.
In order to sell guns in Canada, it has to be 4 1/4.
Oh, I see.
That's why. So if you've got an old 4-inch holster, it's probably going to stick out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, the original holsters are going to work fine. Also, if you'll notice, most people won't know it until you put them side by side. There's a little difference in the trigger contour.
Okay.
That it's not, and part of it, it gives you your fulcrum of pressure is actually more consistent with a trigger that's actually a little straighter. And you won't notice that until you put an old one side by side.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's my prediction. Vast amounts of people have been buying Pythons as financial investments. Bad plan now. My call is those people are going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because previously, let's face it, a nice looking new Python like this would bring $3,000 to $4,000 minimum wherever you're at. This gun is retailed MSRP at $1,500. And in my opinion, as a shooter, this is a much better gun.
Yep. Oh yeah, as a shooter. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I thank you, Ken, for being here with us. I do appreciate your wisdom and your years of knowledge. And being an old geezer like I am, we just heard a bunch of stuff and we like to learn more.
Yeah, great.
I do appreciate it. So thanks for watching, and remember, stay safe and have fun at the range.
Thank you for watching Gun Stock Reviews. Please visit our website at www.gunstockreviews.com for more exclusive content. Please visit our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/gunstockreviews. Your contributions would be greatly appreciated and help us grow our selections and frequency of videos.